The bar was supposed to be a place of laughter, where neon lights cut through the night and glasses clinked with easy rhythm. But for two young black twins, it became a trap, a stage where suspicion brewed faster than any drink. As the music drowned in sudden silence, uniformed officers stormed in, eyes sharp, hands already on their holsters. What began as a simple night out was about to unravel into something dangerous, something that could have ended in tragedy. What no one knew was that these twins carried a secret that could flip the night upside down. It had been a long week, and the twins had promised themselves a night of unwinding. The bar wasn't fancy. Wooden floors creaked beneath heavy boots, a jukebox hummed in the corner, and the air smelled faintly of smoke and spilled beer. Still, it was a place where strangers came to forget their troubles. The twins sat quietly, blending into the crowd, dressed casually in jeans and hoodies. They didn't draw attention, at least not at first. But their presence alone seemed to unsettle a few eyes that lingered too long. Whispers traveled, glasses paused mid-air, and suspicious glances flickered in their direction. They weren't troublemakers. In fact, both lived lives of discipline, secrecy, and service. But to those who only saw skin color, none of that mattered. All that mattered was assumption. One call was made, one accusation whispered into the wrong ear, and soon red and blue lights painted the windows. The bar grew tense as the twins remained seated, their calm composure misunderstood for arrogance. Few in that room realized the storm about to break. They were about to witness how quickly bias could ignite fear, how swiftly innocence could be turned into guilt, and how fragile safety could feel when authority carried prejudice on its shoulders. The door burst open, and the presence of the officers shifted the room's energy. Their boots struck the floor with deliberate force, each step echoing louder than the jukebox's low hum. Their eyes scanned the crowd but locked instantly on the twins, as if someone had already decided they were the problem. The officers didn't ask questions. They didn't need to, not in their minds. They moved with aggression, one hand hovering over a holster, the other gesturing sharply for the twins to stand. Conversations halted. The entire bar watched, some with fear, some with indifference, and others with a silent nod of approval. The twins rose slowly, hands visible, movements measured. They knew this routine too well, the way compliance could still look like defiance when judgment was already passed. Each heartbeat was heavy, each breath calculated, because one wrong move could end everything. Accusations flew, though no crime had been committed. They were told they fit the description. They were told to step outside. Every word was sharp, laced with presumption. To the officers, they were not patrons enjoying a drink. They were threats. The twins stood tall, calm but unyielding, while humiliation settled over them like a heavy coat. Whispered, phones recorded. Some looked away. The weight of centuries of mistrust pressed into that single moment. But beneath their silence, something powerful simmered. Because while everyone else saw two young black men being cornered, the truth was far more explosive. These weren't just two ordinary men caught in a web of profiling. They carried identities that could turn the entire situation into something the officers never anticipated. But for now, they stayed silent. Silent as the officers reached for handcuffs. Silent as injustice once again wrapped its claws around a night that had begun in innocence. The cold metal of the cuffs hovered inches from their wrists when everything shifted. With precision born from training, one twin reached calmly into his pocket, not for a weapon, but the leather badge that defined his life. The other did the same. The bar froze. The officers froze. And then the truth gleamed under the dim light. Two golden shields stamped with three unmistakable letters. FBI. Shock rippled like a wave. The room that had been suffocating with tension now held a stunned silence. The officers, once so commanding, stood still, eyes widening as the reality struck them. The very men they had profiled, humiliated, and nearly arrested were federal agents, sworn protectors of the law. The power dynamic flipped in an instant. The twins, who moments earlier seemed powerless, now held authority that towered over every badge in that room. The officers' voices faltered, excuses stammered, their earlier confidence evaporating under the weight of their mistake. It wasn't just embarrassment, it was exposure. The entire bar had seen it, phones had captured it, and there was no undoing the reality. Racism had blinded men sworn to protect, nearly leading them into an irreversible disaster. The twins didn't shout, didn't threaten. Their silence alone carried more force than words ever could, because in that silence lived a truth too undeniable to ignore. Power didn't protect them from prejudice. Even as FBI agents, their skin still made them targets before anything else. When the officers finally retreated, shame etched into their faces. The bar remained heavy with the weight of what had almost happened. The twins sat back down, calm but contemplative, knowing this incident was not isolated, not rare, but a mirror reflecting a broader truth. They had survived, yes. Their badges had saved them from handcuffs, maybe worse. But the thought lingered. What if they hadn't been FBI agents? What if they had been ordinary young men, unarmed, innocent, but without the shield of authority? The silence in that bar held its own verdict. People who had watched quietly now wrestled with unease. Phones filled with footage that could spark outrage beyond those four walls. And somewhere in the minds of everyone present, a question burned. If badges couldn't shield them, what shields the rest of us?